What's up, everybody? This is Jake here, and welcome to this episode of, well, I'm not going to call it Exploring with Jake because I'm not exploring anything today. I was actually supposed to go to Nankin Mills and do a video there. In fact, I got there and I started filming the whole introduction and everything. And then I went to go inside, and I went inside and I found out that the museum portion of it, which is what I wanted to show you guys, is closed for renovations. And there really isn't much to film on the downstairs portion of it. So I decided to come here instead to this nature trail, which I've been to before, which is literally right across the street from Nankin Mills. And maybe do like a little video here. I'm not calling it an Explore with Jake because we're really not exploring. But it's just a random video, because why not? Kind of in the mood to film, and there's nobody back here, as far as I'm aware. This is very secluded, and it's perfect for a video. So, here goes nothing. Anyways, I hope everybody is doing okay out there. It's been a while since I've done a video where I've kind of talked about myself and given you guys an update on how things have been going with me. And, well, things are going pretty good. I just got back from a trip to Charlevoix. I visited my brother for a couple days. We had a lot of fun together, and depending on how things go, I may or may not be going up there in October, which is coming up really quickly. I don't know when, but sometime in October, maybe early November. That was a lot of fun. And then I got to volunteer at the powwow again here at Nankin Mills, actually. Well, Nankin Mills Park, which is right across the street from Nankin Mills. And that was a lot of fun. That was this past weekend. And, you know, I haven't done a video yet, really, where I kind of got into details about the whole first aid station and everything. So why not do that now? Why not? So the whole journey behind this whole first aid thing for me started 2 years ago. Okay, maybe I should start from the beginning, from the very beginning, very start of this whole thing. My entire life, ever since I can remember, my dream job was to be a firefighter paramedic. More paramedic than firefighter. I remember when I was little, I remember watching, my dad used to had this old, 90s style video recorder, the ones that had the cassette tapes that you had to put in. And I remember one time, this was a long while ago, watching a home video, and I had like rain boots on and a rain jacket on and a garden hose, and I was pretending to put out a fire. So all my life, that's something I wanted to do. A lot of people dream of becoming famous musicians, and some people dream of like Anthony Bourdain touring the world, and I'm one of those people too. I would love to tour or travel the world. But realistically speaking, the odds of that happening are very, very, are very low. Anyways, so like I was saying, that's what I wanted to do. Well, in 2022, I made the decision to go get my first aid basic certification. I went to this place called Chase Comprehensive Health and Safety, located in Farmington Hills, Michigan. Not knowing if I was going to pass or not. I had absolutely no idea if I was going to get my certification or not. I didn't really know how difficult it was. Well, I did. I got my certification. I passed. So that was October. That following September, I was at a powwow, the same one that I volunteer at. And I was doing this, I was there as a spectator, basically. I had my ribbon shirt on, did not look professional at all. But I still had a first aid trauma kit, which I actually still have on me. It's in my bag right now. So I was sitting there as a spectator, and towards the end of the powwow, I hear the MC say that somebody needs some medical assistance, and I ran and tried to help the person. At the end of the event, it was brought to my attention from another spectator that maybe I should do some sort of like a first aid station, or at least bring that up to them. Like, I think it's a good idea. Sorry, the mosquitoes are kind of crazy. But I think it's a really good idea for you to have one of those. I thought it was a good idea too, but I never thought it was an idea that was possible. Every event that I've been to where I've done first aid at, it's usually the fire department that runs the whole thing, or a medical clinic. It's very rare that you get some civilian who happens to be trained and certified in first aid volunteering to do that stuff. So I never thought that that would actually be something I could do. Turns out it was something I could do. I contacted the American Indian Association of Detroit. They got me in contact with my friend Travis, who is my friend on Facebook, and I'm sure he might see this. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce her last name because I don't really know how to pronounce it, and I don't want to sound rude, so I'm just not going to even attempt it. But my friend Travis, I reached out to him. He reached out to Wayne County Parks, and they thought it was a good idea, and last year I got to do it. And let me tell you what. Without giving too much away because of HIPAA and all that other stuff, I had to help 2 people that first year. And I turned what was a negative situation into a much more positive situation. Same thing when I helped the woman before this whole first aid thing happened. So they all like me, and Travis and Wayne County Parks recruited me to do it again this year. And I got to do it again this year. Not only am I doing this at the powwow at Lincoln Mills Park, but I'm also doing this at a Pride event every year now I get to do in Old Village, Plymouth. I get to do a car show every year now. Starting this year, I get to do a Halloween thing on the 27th of October. And it all started because of the powwow. It all started because I wanted to... Yeah, a big part of why I got into this whole first aid thing is because I've always had an interest in it, and I've always wanted to do that kind of stuff. But the main reason why, for me, that I got into it too, is because I just like to help people. You know, there is no greater satisfaction that you can get within oneself than it is when you help someone. And I'm not just talking about like what I do with first aid, but also like if you see someone and you give them a dollar bill and you know, it makes them smile, or you know, you compliment somebody on their hat that they're wearing, or you know, you help grandma get her groceries into the house, or whatever it may be. There is no greater satisfaction than the satisfaction that you get when you help someone. But when you help somebody doing something that you enjoy doing, there's many ways that you can volunteer and help people. It's not just first aid, but I remember Old Village, this last event I did, the car show. Jan from Old Village was like, hey, just so you know, if you want to do something else besides first aid, you're always welcome to just come here and volunteer and do other things. And I looked at her and I smiled and I said, no, this is what I do. This is what I feel the most comfortable doing. I don't really have much skill sets. I mean, I can barely fucking cook a grilled cheese sandwich for Pete's sakes, let alone these mosquitoes are crazy this year. That's why I haven't come back here in a while, because every time I'm back here, there's fucking mosquitoes trying to eat me alive. Maybe it's true. Maybe I am irresistibly charming after all. Maybe all those people that say I'm good looking are not just saying that to be honest, to be nice. They're saying it because they're honest. Just joking. Really seriously though, these mosquitoes. But like I was saying, there's no greater satisfaction that you get than the satisfaction of helping somebody. And, you know, I know that people who follow me on Facebook might think that I'm bragging because, let's face it, I'm going to try to walk over here and see if this is a little less. No, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I tend to be my harshest critic when it comes to myself. So I don't really like taking credit for a lot of things, number one, and I don't like attention, number two, and number three, sometimes it's hard to know that you've matured. But, you know, reflecting on my life and when I first started at Berger, which was the autistic school that I went to, social skills and things of that sort, it wasn't my thing. I was a completely different person back then than I am now. And that school, along with my parents and their unconditional love and the support I've had throughout my whole life, I was able to gain these social skills and these street smarts and this new way of living in the world, so to speak. And part of that for me is realizing that, wow, if you would have said to me when I first started at Berger that one day I would do a first aid station at a powwow and then start doing first aid stations at other events and talk to people, and that one day I would have to deal with someone who has an anxiety disorder like I do, and you're able to successfully talk that person off the anxiety scale and calm that person down using your social skills that you never thought you had or that you never wanted to believe that you had. And I feel like that's why I'm the most proud of myself right now, because I'm realizing the more I do these events, the more I realize just how far I have come in my life for the better. And there's always turbulations, there's always trials, there's always things that happen in our lives that we wish we never have to go through or see or do or experience or whatever. But you can't grow unless you go through those things. And if I never had the experiences that I had in my short 30 years that I've been on this planet, I don't know if I would be the person I am today. And I'm not going to sound like I'm Queen Elizabeth or anything, or I'm perfect. Nobody's perfect, and I have my flaws like everybody else does. But just to see how far I've come in such a short time, and even in a long time, but a short time, because even like 3 or 4 years ago, if you would have told me, hey, you should do this, I would have laughed. I would have been, no, I'm not, I don't want to deal with crowds. I don't want to deal with people. No, thank you. And I'm doing just that. When I turned 30, I made a deal with myself. And that deal was this next decade that I'm on Earth. So 30 on until 40, and even 40 and above, I want to get in the best goddamn shape I've ever been in. And look at me. Look at me. I'm just kidding. Well, I did lose 40 pounds, so I don't look like Jason Momoa yet, because I still haven't grown out my hair, and I still need to get some more tattoos, and not just that, but I'm just kidding. The point is, I wanted to get in the best shape of my life, and I'm doing that. Even days I don't go to the gym, I come to places like this and walk around, or I ride my bike, or I'm doing something physical. Even if I'm downstairs, I'm dancing or whatever. Another thing I really wanted to do in my 30s, or want to do, is get out of my comfort zone. I'm the kind of person where I let my anxiety and the things that come with my autism because I'm really sensitive to loud sounds and things of that sort. I don't like crowds. I get really anxious and nervous around big groups of people. And I still do. That part of me is never going to go away. I'm always going to be autistic. That's just who I am. And there's going to be things that come with it. But you don't have a choice when it comes to the cards you were dealt. But you do have a choice on how you respond to those cards. You could let those cards stack up on your deck and then it explodes. Your time comes and you leave this world and you realize you didn't live because you were too afraid. Or you can manage it. Like when I go to a loud event, I wear earplugs. Like when I went to go see Green Day, I had earplugs in. Or, I give myself little pep talks before I go into crowds. The point is, I've been going to powwows since I was 3 years old because obviously it's a part of my heritage. But if you were to call me up on the phone, my friend Brett, if my close friend Brett were to call me, hey Jake from State Farm, you want to go to a car show? I would probably say no. Or I would have said no. Because I normally don't go to car shows because they're loud and there's way too many people. Especially the Woodward Dream Cruise. That's a place that I don't think I will ever go to. And also I don't really like cars. But that's beyond the point. Or this upcoming Halloween event. I'm a 30-year-old grown man. I don't go to Halloween parties and Halloween events anymore. And I never really did when I was little because I just never really cared for Halloween because I'm not really a big fan of horror, which I know makes no sense to anybody because I listen to heavy metal that's really dark and has a lot of really dark, creepy subject matter. But that's beyond the point. So doing these events that I've been doing and getting asked to do these events, number one, I'm doing something I love to do. But not only am I doing something that I love to do, and it's something I get the biggest passion and the biggest drive for, it's something that has given me the most purpose, and we all need purpose in life. Every single one of us need purpose. It's just the way things are. But doing these events have gotten me out of my comfort zone too. They kind of forced me to, because I had to do the car show. Well, I didn't have to, but I chose to. And I chose to because I'm not going to live the next decade or the next 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, however many years I have left on this planet we call Earth, saying I wish I could when I could. I want this to be the decade where I challenge myself, I go out there more, I do more things independently and with friends. I want to see more things, I want to explore, I want to live. But most importantly, I want to do something that I love, and that's exactly what I've been doing, is something that I love to do. And it may not be a typical 9 to 5, but for me, this is what gives me the most satisfaction. I know a lot of people make like New Year's resolutions, and I don't. I make goals, and it's not just something every New Year's that I want to do. It's my 20s was the decade where a lot of shit happened. That was the decade, I call that the decade of growing up. That was the decade where I faced rejection, where I made mistakes myself and lost friends because of the mistakes I made. I really wasn't a mature person. For a while, I kind of changed my personality, if you will. And I really wasn't that likable to be around. And I want to make this decade the decade of change, the decade where I mature and I get out there and I do the things that I've always wanted to do while I still can. I might as well. And, getting out of my comfort zone is very beneficial for me because I think everybody in this world needs to get out of their comfort zone at one point in their life. If you're watching this video and you've never gotten out of your comfort zone, if you've never challenged yourself, if you're too afraid to challenge yourself or to take risks or to do things that you haven't done, go do it. Because number one, life is short. Not to be morbid, but that's the reality of life. It's that nobody knows when their time is going to be up. But also, number two, we're not young forever. And there's a lot of older people who I know who wish that they could have gone out there and lived their lives when they were much more able-bodied, so to speak. And not only am I getting out of my comfort zone by doing these events, but I've also been getting out of my comfort zone doing other things as well. Like when I went to Charlevoix, I went on a sailboat onto Lake Michigan. Now, this is something I've never told anybody before because it's kind of embarrassing, but I have an uncanny fear of big bodies of water. I don't have a fear of water, I have a fear of big bodies of water, like oceans and, well, for those of you who don't live in Michigan, the Great Lakes are kind of like, are huge. And Lake Michigan can have big waves and things of that sort. Why? I'm a good swimmer, but I always had this fear of drowning. I remember I would have dreams sometimes of like, you know, a plane crashing in the middle of the ocean, and then you're like stuck in this seat in this like cylinder case of hell, and you're drowning because, like, you know, airplanes aren't designed to float in water, you know. That's what I think of. Or being on a bridge crossing over Mackinac Island and the bridge collapses, like wherever that was. So, yeah. And yet I went on the sailboat and I had the greatest time, and I can't wait to do it again. Again, I could have let my fear stop me, but I didn't. Another thing I did is I went to go see my friend Brett. He's a drummer in a band called Dark Eater. I went to go see his concert. Normally, deathcore concerts are events that I like to avoid because it can be very loud, number one, and number two, the mosh pits and things, people can get crazy. And the reason why I say that is I went with Brett to see Bring Me to the Horizon back in 2019. They played at the Fillmore. And we had floor seats. There were people ripping off their shirts, dancing in the aisles. The mosh pits were crazy. I felt like a sardine. You know, the peanut butter and the jelly between the bread. And I left that venue saying I had the best time that I had. It was a great time. But then I also said, but I'm not doing this again. And if I do, it's not going to be floor seats. Well, here I am with my camera or my cell phone at my friend's concert, getting video of all the moshing and being right in the center of it when I can, and or near it, not in the center of it, but near it, standing on the side of the stage. Then I got to go backstage and hang out with the band. Something I would not have done a few years ago because my social anxiety probably would have kept me from it, because it's hard for me to open up to people, and it still is. And that's something else I want to do in my 30s. I want to start meeting people again. I want to put myself out there more. I want to make some new friends, maybe rekindle some friendships with people I've lost friendships with. I don't know, I just have this desire to do things and to challenge myself and see what I can do and what I can't do. Oh, and speaking of floor seats, my sister got floor seats to Green Day. Another thing that I would have been too scared of. Because when you're on the floor, you're right by the speakers, which we were, and you're close up to the stage. So the explosions are louder, the fireworks are louder, the music's a little bit louder, and you're on the floor. But there were floor seats, so there were actual seats on the actual floor part. But still, and I'm glad I did. I had a blast at that concert, and I had so much fun with my sister, and I hope that we can make memories like that again, for sure. Anyways, somebody asked me the other day if this first aid thing is something that I see myself doing for the foreseeable future, and to be honest with you, absolutely. I don't ever see myself not doing this. which is good because it means that I have to keep going every 2 years to recertify in both my basic life support and first aid certification courses. But it means my skills can always, remain fresh and everything, which is another benefit for me. And that's another thing I did that I'm really proud of. I got to take that basic life support certification course, something that was geared towards healthcare workers, something that I heard was kind of a hard course to take. That's a complete lie. It was easy. I scored 100%. It was, and it was a fun class too. And that was also at Chase Comprehensive Health and Safety in Farmington. But anyways, that is the video for today. If you like what you've seen, don't forget to give this a thumbs up or give it a like or comment. Until the next time, I'm Jake from State Farm, and I'll be back with another video soon.